Salut tout le monde! Welcome back to Unintentionally Frenchified. I have officially been in Montreal for the last 2 months now, so we are starting to get settled in, I could say. Well, 2.5 months now. And I wanted to talk to you guys. I've unfortunately had to go to the doctor a couple of times since I've been here. It's not ideal, but I am learning a bit how to navigate the healthcare system here, and it's safe to say I was surprised by a lot of things. So I didn't want to do a video on the 25 things that I'm surprised about because the video would be like 5 hours long, but I did stick to the 7 biggest differences or things for me that really surprised me when going to the doctor here versus France. So it's a bit of a Quebec versus France healthcare system video. So I'm interested to see what you guys think as well. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you've experienced both of the different systems, because I feel like in Quebec it is very, very different. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, this is the right moment to do it if you're into French content, American content, Quebec content, expats living abroad, culture shocks, and this is the right place for you. And if you're ready, c'est parti. Okay, first things first is health insurance, registering for a health card. In both France and Quebec, you have a public health card, and I'm traumatized by registering for my carte vitale in France. Trying to get this health card was a mess. It is very, very complicated for foreigners. In Quebec, it's not very complicated. You fill out a form online and then you wait, okay? So that was very easy. But what I really liked about France, and they don't do in Quebec, is while you're waiting for your number and while you're waiting for your card, you can still go to the doctor and benefit from the same public prices as everyone else. It just means that they give you a piece of paper, you pay up front, and then you have to ask to be reimbursed by sending your paper in. But you still benefit from the system, right? When you arrive in Quebec, if you don't have your, as you're waiting to get your number and your card, I'm not benefiting from the public system. I won't get reimbursed for any of the doctor's appointments that I'm going to. And in some cases, as I'll talk about later, I can't even do the same service as other people because I don't have my healthcare yet. I find that to be very stressful when you first arrive because it means that there's a lot of hoops you need to jump through and things that you don't understand, on top of paying for something that, I'm already paying to be part of the healthcare system. And one of the things they did tell me is because I came from France, I could have technically asked for, they have some kind of partnership or where I could have gotten healthcare right away when I got here, but you can't apply until you're in the country. And the wait times for that are so long that the lawyers and everyone just recommended, all you need to do is apply for, your carte RAMQ, and you need to wait for it. You just have to wait that waiting period that everyone does. It's 2 to 3 months, and it is what it is. But I've had to see a doctor, so it's been really stressful, just not being able to pay up front and know that I'm gonna be reimbursed later on for what I'm doing. So North America is very convenience oriented, so I wasn't surprised at all by the fact that there are websites, just like there is Doctolib, for example, where you can book doctor's appointments in France and see who's available. I went to Clic Santé, for example, here in Quebec in order to find a blood draw appointment. The problem with all this automatic machine and everything being very convenient is often you don't talk to somebody. And when you don't have a cart, a number, an insurance number, sometimes you can't get past the machine in order to talk to somebody. So I could see online that in this place, I should be able to make an appointment if I don't have an insurance number. But then at the same time, when I call, it's an automatic machine that's saying, give me your insurance number so I can pass you to somebody. That was really frustrating. And also on Clic Santé, for example, I made an appointment in the pharmacy next to my house to get my blood drawn in 3 days. But what I didn't realize, because they let me make the appointment without an insurance number, is that you can't actually get your blood drawn in a public pharmacy if you don't have an insurance number, because everything, the blood samples that they take, they don't put your name or anything, they put your insurance number. And so I couldn't actually, so they called me right before the appointment after I'd waited 3 days being no, sorry, actually, we can't take you here. You need to go private. So then I had to wait more time and I had to find somewhere private. So very frustrating and a little bit stressful when you're trying to book something quickly and you're not quite sure what's going on. So next was the wait times that I found really surprising. I needed to go get my blood drawn. And so that, for example, it took me, in France, I would have gotten the ordonnance, I'm losing my language here, the prescription. I would have gotten the prescription from my doctor. I would have walked outside. I would have gone to the clinic that was 3 steps away. I would have waited in line and they would have drawn my blood right there without an appointment. Some places you needed to make an appointment, but you could easily do it the next day. Very easy to find places in Paris, I'm talking about. Maybe not the same outside, but in Paris. And here, it wasn't quite as smooth. I left the doctor with my prescription. Then I had to, as I said, get on Clic Santé, make an appointment, and I probably would have waited on average 2 to 3 days. I think I would say that's on average. So, okay, it's not right away, but it's not the end of the world. However, I need to get an ultrasound. My goodness, I called about 4 different places. I have to go private for these, I guess. And in the private places, I'm looking at somewhere between a 6-week to somebody was like, you're like very lucky I had a cancellation. I can get you in 3 weeks. That seems really long to me. I'm used to in France, like when you do have a problem and you do need to go get an ultrasound, for example, like my doctor would just say, hey, listen, I know this person right here, call them, I'm referring you, like they'll get you in really quickly. And so I'm not used to, in just my experience for the health problems that I've had, have to wait like weeks and weeks to have like an ultrasound, for example. That seemed like I was very surprised. I mean, and I know if you have a real emergency, you can go to the emergency room, but when you just are like kind of worried about something and you want to just get it checked out, it's always a bit stressful and frustrating to have to wait a while to just like, is everything okay? You kind of want to have it faster than like 3 weeks, but at the same time, I'm not going to take up like resources in an emergency room. I'm not about to like keel over. So it's a bit of a balancing act, and I don't know, I don't love the wait times. Okay, the 4th thing was no family doctor. I was like, what? Since I have gotten here, the amount of people who have told me like, you will never have a family doctor when you're here. Like, we're supposed to be here for anywhere between say like 2 to 5 years. And they're like, not even worth it. You'll never get a family doctor. There's not enough. Like, you'll just need to go on walk-in clinics. And for me, the family doctor, like, I really liked my family doctor in Paris. Like, I knew her. I'd gone to her for years. She was aware of all like the little things. And like I said, she would refer me to people that she knew. Like, I mean, you really felt comfortable going to your family doctor, and just knowing somebody when you're going through medical issues is comforting. And here they were like, you only will go to walk-in clinics. I think I'll get used to that, and that's fine. But for a pediatrician, they said the same thing. That surprises me. Like Eleanor, like my daughter, will never have a pediatrician here, and you just need to go on walk-in clinics if she's sick. And I was like, well, what do you do if like for vaccinations? What do you do for checkups? What am I supposed to do? And I'm sure I'll figure all of these out, but the fact that like you cannot find one pediatrician available or one family doctor, and I'm obviously not the only one in this situation. I don't love this. I wouldn't say that this is something that like I'm super pumped about. And again, it's like you have to relearn to navigate the whole system. And I think like that's just gonna be walk-in clinics. Okay, so I did finally go into a walk-in clinic for myself so that I could get obviously my prescriptions for everything that I needed done. And I was so surprised by the doctor. You guys have to tell me if you feel this way versus like North American versus France. But the doctor just kept asking me if I was okay with what he was prescribing. So for example, he was checking me out and we were talking about some of the issues I was having. And then he was like, yeah, so I think that what I would do is I would prescribe you a blood test to go get this and this checked out. What do you think? What does that sound to you? It was very much about like, what did I want from him? What was I getting from him? Did I feel comfortable with what he was diagnosing me with or suggesting? And let me tell you, in France, it has never worked that way for me. It is like you walk in and the doctor is gonna diagnose you without even like looking at your throat, giving you a test. Like they're just like, that sounds like a cough. You probably slept in front of a fan. You definitely were way too much in front of the clean. You are sick. Here's what I'm gonna prescribe to you. Here's all the medication, now go. Like it's very different, I find, and I knew my family doctor very well, and I did not find that it was like me telling her what I was comfortable with. She was like diagnosing what she felt or what she knew through her profession. Very different field. Do you guys like agree with this? Did I just happen to be on like a doctor who was like this? But it was very much like, do you want me to do anything else for you? So maybe it was because of my next point, which was the price. Like, was he so accommodating? I don't know if this doctor even knew that I didn't have health insurance here yet, but was he so accommodating because I had just paid like 200 Canadian dollars to see him for like 5 minutes? I have no idea, but the price was really shocking to me. When you go to the doctor in France, you're paying around like 25 out of pocket. And I know once I have my health insurance card, I won't be paying 200 out of pocket, but it's really expensive. I paid 200 out of pocket to the walk-in clinic. So that's Canadian dollars. Maybe we just say dollars, $200. Then I paid $443 to get my blood drawn. I'm gonna have to pay when I have my ultrasound, $350 for the ultrasound. It's just, I'm back in North America, and I know that Quebec is like way, way better. I shouldn't even compare it to the US, but just in terms of like expensive, like I went and paid my medication, for example. Again, I don't have my health insurance card yet, but my like Synthroid, which was covered in France, and that I think cost me like, without insurance in the US, I think it was something like $50 when I had to get it 1 year. It was like, I don't know, 75 that I paid in Canadian dollars. Anyways, the prices have definitely been a shocker, and that's gonna be something to get used to. And the last thing that I was really surprised about, guys, is the results. So I think when I go to do the ultrasound, which I haven't done yet, they're gonna tell me while I'm in there, like, is anything wrong? Is everything okay? Like, I mean, I think they're gonna tell me on the spot because I'm gonna be there. But for the blood test, I don't get any of my results back. So what I'm used to is going into the clinic, getting my blood drawn, giving them all the information. And then the next day, within like 24 hours, normally I get kind of a little alert. Your results are ready. I use my password that they gave me and I'm able to look at the results. And then my doctor gets them too. So we both know. So, and they also give you the little scale to tell you like where your number should be falling. So you know if you're above or below or if there are any problems. So I find that to just be like very bizarre because they were like, oh no, you will never get your results. Your results are sent to the doctor. When I visited the doctor, he was like, if I were you, I would go to a private clinic because often in the public, like the results can get lost. Like, what? And then he told me it would take 2 weeks. This is a bit bizarre. The doctor was like, it'll probably take me about 2 weeks to get the results. And then when I went to go get my blood drawn, they're like, your doctor should have the results on Monday or Tuesday. So that was not 2 weeks. And I went in on like a Thursday. I don't get the results. I can't tell when my doctor got it. And then this isn't even a doctor I know very well. So do I have to like call the walk-in clinic to follow up with him? Because I'm sure if my results are normal, maybe he's not gonna call me back. I find that to be, I would have much preferred that someone just sent me my results so I was aware if there was a problem or not and then could reach back in touch with somebody. Weird, right? All right, guys, so those are the 7 things that surprised me the most with all of the different things I have medically going on here in Quebec. I want to know if you guys know a bit of the healthcare system in Canada, what you think, especially if you can compare between France and Canada. I'm not really I know a lot of my things here were the things that maybe I found negative because honestly, they are, because right now I don't have a health insurance card and I have only been living here for 2 months and we're still in the thick of settling in. So when you're sick and not feeling well and you're running around, all of these things tend to feel bigger, when they're happening right now. So I'm sure I will look back at this video in a year and just be like, oh, but I don't know, maybe right now it really seems to me like this system in France is easier to understand. And also it seems like I pay less and it seems like it's faster and more convenient, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think who have maybe experienced it more, and we'll have to do my reaction to this video in a year. Okay, sending you guys all lots of bisous. I will see you la semaine prochaine and I will also see you in the comments below. Bisous!